You wake up to your morning coffee, the dew still fresh on your land, only to spot strangers with high-tech gear trampling your property like they own it. That's exactly what happened to Jack West, a Colorado veteran who found himself in a battle against a powerful HOA trying to steal his 10 acres for a community pool. In this gripping tale, Jack uncovers a web of forged documents, shady deals, and outright trespassing, pushing him to the edge with a Remington in hand. From bulldozers tearing through his fence to a courtroom showdown that exposes corruption, this story is a roller coaster of defiance and justice. Will Jack save his land from the clutches of greed? Packed with raw emotion, shocking betrayals, and a fight that'll make your blood boil, this video will keep you hooked till the final frame. Don't miss a single moment. Watch to see how one man stands tall against a system rigged to take everything he's fought for. Hit play, and brace yourself for a story that proves some battles are worth fighting to the end. Jack West experiences a jarring intrusion that sets the stage for his battle against a powerful homeowners association, HOA. One quiet morning, while sipping coffee near his shed, Jack notices movement on his 10-acre property in Colorado. 3 men, dressed in neon vests and equipped with tool belts, are traversing the upper ridge of his land. One carries a yellow tripod with a laser scope, while the others wield tablets and measuring poles, methodically working as if they belong there. Their professional demeanor and expensive equipment suggest a planned operation, but Jack is immediately suspicious because he doesn't recognize them, nor has he hired anyone for work on his property. The men are from Harper Engineering Group, and they claim to be conducting initial topographic measurements for a C4 expansion project, which includes a community pool and parking access under the direction of the Green Peaks Reserve HOA. Jack's confusion quickly turns to indignation, as he's certain his land isn't part of any HOA jurisdiction. He's owned the property for 6 years, purchased outright with cash, and personally verified the boundaries through surveys before signing the deed. The men's presence feels like a violation, especially since they're operating far from any easement or fence line, with no visible permits or county vehicles to legitimize their actions. Their casual confidence, as if Jack's land is just another plot on their map, fuels his frustration. When he confronts them, the heavy-set man in his 40s, sporting a Harper Engineering logo, explains their task nonchalantly, while a younger colleague presents a folder with a color map claiming Jack's land, specifically Parcel C, is allocated for public infrastructure. They assert that the Green Peaks Reserve's legal team has cleared the project with the county, implying Jack's ownership is irrelevant or outdated. This moment is pivotal, as it reveals the audacity of the HOA's overreach and sets up the central conflict. Jack's land, a symbol of his independence and hard-earned stability, is being treated as a commodity by strangers acting on questionable authority. The encounter underscores a broader theme of bureaucratic manipulation, where powerful entities exploit legal loopholes to encroach on private property. Jack's immediate skepticism and decision to confront the intruders reflect his resolve to protect what's his, foreshadowing the escalating fight ahead. This initial trespass, marked by the men's professional yet unauthorized presence, lights the fuse for Jack's relentless pursuit of justice, pulling viewers into a story of defiance against systemic overreach. Directly confronts the 3 men from Harper Engineering Group trespassing on his 10-acre Colorado property. This tense encounter unfolds as Jack, armed with nothing but his thermos of coffee and a growing sense of violation, marches up the hill to challenge the intruders. The men, equipped with tablets, measuring poles, and a laser scope, are casually discussing coordinates and benchmarks, treating Jack's land as if it's already theirs. When Jack demands an explanation, his tone flat but firm, the heavy-set man in his 40s, sporting a Harper Engineering logo, responds that they're conducting topographic measurements for a C4 expansion project, a community pool and parking lot for the Green Peaks Reserve HOA. The explanation rings hollow to Jack, who knows his property is not under HOA control. The situation escalates when a younger man, in his early 30s, steps forward with a folder containing a large color map. He claims the map, supposedly filed with the county, designates Jack's land, marked as Parcel C, for public infrastructure, including an access road and community lot, with his mother's house directly in the path. He asserts that the HOA's legal team has secured approval, implying Jack's ownership is either irrelevant or superseded. Jack's response is immediate and incredulous. He's not part of the HOA, and his ownership, secured 6 years ago with cash and meticulous surveys, is indisputable. The men's reliance on a dubious map and vague authorization fuels Jack's suspicion of foul play, as they provide no concrete proof like permits or county orders. Their calm assurance, contrasted with Jack's rising frustration, underscores the power imbalance. Strangers wielding bureaucratic claims against a lone property owner. This confrontation is a critical turning point, highlighting the audacity of the HOA's attempt to encroach on private land through questionable legal maneuvers. Jack's refusal to accept their explanation reflects his determination to protect his property, setting the stage for a deeper investigation into the HOA's actions. The map, presented as fact but lacking legitimacy, symbolizes the deceptive tactics Jack will later uncover. This moment also engages the audience by showcasing Jack's resolve against an overreaching system, drawing them into his fight. The men's failure to justify their presence, coupled with their casual dismissal of Jack's rights, plants the seeds of conflict that drive the narrative forward, compelling viewers to see how Jack will challenge this apparent injustice. Jack West firmly establishes his rightful ownership of the 10-acre Colorado property, underscoring the illegitimacy of the Green Peaks Reserve HOA's claims. This moment is pivotal, as it grounds Jack's defiance in a concrete history of legal ownership, amplifying the audacity of the trespassers' actions. 6 years prior, Jack purchased the land outright with cash, a transaction he meticulously finalized by conducting his own surveys to confirm the boundaries before signing the deed. This deliberate process reflects his thoroughness and commitment to securing his property, which he views as a symbol of personal independence. The land, spanning 10 acres, has been his for half a decade, with every detail, deeds, tax payments, and GPS surveys, carefully documented and stored in 2 separate safes. This preparation highlights Jack's foresight and vigilance, contrasting sharply with the HOA's baseless assertion that his land falls under their jurisdiction. When confronted by the Harper Engineering Group surveyors, who claim his property is part of an HOA-approved expansion for a community pool and parking lot, Jack immediately rejects their narrative. He knows his land is not affiliated with the HOA, as it lies outside any easement or fence line designated for public use. The absence of city trucks, permits, or official county documentation further fuels his certainty that the intruder's presence is unauthorized. Jack's intimate knowledge of his property's legal status, bolstered by notarized, stamped, and sealed paperwork, makes the HOA's map, which marks his land as Parcel C, for public infrastructure, an affront to his rights. His assertion, "This land has been mine for 6 years," is not just a statement of fact but a declaration of his resolve to protect what he's rightfully earned. This point deepens the narrative stakes, positioning Jack as a determined individual pitted against the system attempting to erode his autonomy through questionable means. His ownership, backed by irrefutable records, exposes the HOA's actions as an overreach, setting the stage for the escalating conflict. For the audience, this moment builds empathy for Jack, portraying him as a man who's done everything right yet faces an unjust challenge. It also raises questions about how far the HOA's influence extends and what lengths Jack will go to defend his land, compelling viewers to stay invested in his fight against bureaucratic overreach and deception. Jack West's frustration reaches a boiling point, leading him to escalate the confrontation with the trespassing surveyors from Harper Engineering Group by retrieving his Remington rifle. After the surveyors present a questionable map claiming his 10-acre Colorado property is allocated for a Green Peaks Reserve HOA expansion, Jack's initial attempts at dialogue yield no clarity. Their assertion that his land is under HOA jurisdiction, despite his clear ownership and lack of affiliation, feels like a deliberate violation. The heavy-set surveyor's vague reference to county approval and the younger man's dismissive reliance on a folder of dubious documents push Jack past patience. Sensing no immediate resolution and suspecting foul play, he returns to his house, his boots crunching on the dry soil, coffee sloshing in his thermos, and retrieves his cleaned and oiled Remington from the cabinet behind the door. Jack's decision to sling the rifle over his shoulder is not an act of reckless aggression, but a calculated show of authority on his own land. He walks back up the hill, slow and steady, and positions himself where the surveyor's tire tracks begin, planting himself between them and his home. His calm yet firm ultimatum, "You've got 30 seconds to get off my land, or I'll be calling this in as armed trespassing," underscores his resolve to protect his property. The surveyors react with panic, the younger one pales, another trips over the tripod, and they scramble to their vans, kicking up gravel as they flee. However, the heavy-set surveyor lingers, offering a cryptic warning. "This wasn't our call. They sent us. You should check your records. They already filed something with the county." This hint of deeper manipulation sows seeds of doubt, suggesting the HOA's actions extend beyond the surveyors to a broader, possibly fraudulent scheme. This moment is a turning point, highlighting Jack's shift from verbal confrontation to a physical assertion of his rights, while also revealing the surveyor's unease and complicity in a larger plot. The rifle, never fired, serves as a symbol of Jack's readiness to defend his land, amplifying the stakes of the conflict. The heavy-set man's parting words introduce a new layer of intrigue, pointing to bureaucratic machinations at the county level. For the audience, this scene is gripping, blending tension, defiance, and the promise of a deeper conspiracy. It propels the narrative forward, urging viewers to follow Jack's next steps as he uncovers the truth behind the HOA's audacious land grab. Jack West visits the county recorder's office to investigate the Green Peaks Reserve HOA's claim over his 10-acre Colorado property, uncovering a disturbing bureaucratic maneuver. After confronting the Harper Engineering surveyors and receiving a cryptic warning to check county records, Jack drives to the Old Brick County office, a place he hasn't visited since finalizing his land purchase 6 years ago. His ownership is ironclad, purchased with cash, backed by notarized deeds, tax records, and GPS surveys, all stored in 2 safes. Yet, the surveyor's map and their claim of county approval gnaw at him, prompting this urgent trip. At the reception desk, Jack requests his property records, expecting a straightforward confirmation of his ownership. Instead, the clerk's hesitation and quick referral to a land records official, Greg, signal trouble. In a windowless room, Greg, a disheveled county employee, reveals that Jack's parcel, Lot 742, has been temporarily assigned to the HOA under an administrative transfer code, pending ownership clarification. This bombshell, delivered with bureaucratic indifference, stuns Jack. Greg explains that the HOA's legal department challenged Jack's deed, claiming his parcel was mistakenly excluded from a 2010 land reservation for their development. They've flagged his title as in review, alleging he might be a successor to an improperly recorded trustee, a baseless accusation given Jack's direct purchase from the Harold family. Jack's jaw tightens as he refutes this, citing his meticulous documentation, sale agreements, recorded deeds, tax payments, and drone footage. Greg, unmoved, shrugs off the dispute, stating he doesn't adjudicate but can flag the file for an internal audit, a process that could take weeks. This delay infuriates Jack, especially as the HOA's surveyors are already staking out his land. He demands a printed copy of the HOA's request, including names, signatures, and maps, which Greg reluctantly agrees to provide. Jack leaves with a manila envelope, his blood pressure soaring, sensing a deeper conspiracy. This moment is critical, exposing the HOA's audacious use of administrative loopholes to undermine Jack's clear ownership. The vague, provisional oversight, and falsified challenge to his deed highlight a calculated attempt to seize his land through bureaucratic manipulation. For the audience, this scene builds suspense, revealing the HOA's influence within the county and Jack's vulnerability against the rigged system. It propels the narrative toward his next steps, gathering evidence and fighting back, while keeping viewers hooked on whether he can unravel this fraudulent scheme before the HOA's bulldozers move in. Jack West discovers evidence of deliberate tampering on his Colorado property, escalating the threat posed by the Green Peaks Reserve HOA's attempt to seize his 10 acres. After learning at the county recorder's office that his land is under a questionable administrative transfer, Jack returns home, his suspicions heightened. As he pulls into his gravel driveway, he notices his mailbox door bent open, papers scattered like leaves, bills, junk mail, and alarmingly, a torn land assessment from 2 years prior. This isn't random vandalism. Someone has targeted his property documents. Scanning the tree line, he spots a chipped fence post and a twisted gate latch, further signs of intrusion. Determined to uncover the culprit, Jack pulls the memory cards from his trail cameras and reviews the footage. The grainy black and white video captures a figure in a windbreaker and baseball cap rummaging through his mailbox at night, fleeing when a car passes. The lack of identifiable logos or a waiting vehicle suggests a covert operation, not tied to the HOA's visible surveyors. This discovery transforms Jack's fight from a bureaucratic dispute to a personal violation, intensifying the stakes. The targeted rifling of his mailbox, specifically damaging property records, points to a deliberate attempt to undermine his legal claim to the land. The trail camera footage, while not clear enough to identify the intruder, confirms someone is actively working against him, likely connected to the HOA's fraudulent claims. Jack's response is swift and methodical. He reinforces locks, installs new cameras, swaps batteries, and posts laminated signs declaring his land private and outside HOA jurisdiction. To make a point, he parks his ATV near the back fence with the Remington rifle strapped across it, a visible warning to would-be trespassers. This moment is a turning point, revealing the HOA's tactics have escalated to physical interference, possibly to destroy or steal evidence of Jack's ownership. The violation of his mailbox and property boundaries underscores the lengths to which his adversaries will go, heightening the narrative's tension. For the audience, this scene is gripping, blending suspense with Jack's proactive defense of his land. It raises questions about who is behind the tampering and how far the conspiracy extends, compelling viewers to stay invested as Jack fortifies his position. The trail camera evidence, though incomplete, becomes a crucial piece in his growing arsenal, foreshadowing his use of technology to fight back against an increasingly aggressive and deceptive opponent. Jack West faces a brazen escalation of the Green Peaks Reserve HOA's encroachment when a bulldozer and construction crew invade his 10-acre Colorado property, causing significant damage. Days after discovering tampered mail and reinforcing his security, Jack receives a call from his neighbor Rhonda, alerting him to a bulldozer on his land. Racing home, he finds a yellow Caterpillar dozer parked near the eastern fence line, its engine rumbling, with workers clearing brush and trees near his creek and marking his vegetable patch with chalk spray. The sight of his carefully tended land, particularly a mulberry tree planted for his mother, now half uprooted, ignites his fury. Slamming his truck door, Jack storms toward the crew, who ignore him, emboldened by their supposed authorization. Furious at the destruction, Jack retrieves his Remington rifle from his gun safe, no longer willing to negotiate with those who view his property as a formality. However, before he can confront the crew, 2 sheriff's cruisers arrive, led by Deputy Whelan, who orders Jack to drop the weapon, citing a report of an armed threat to authorized workers. Jack, incredulous, argues that the crew is trespassing, pointing to his documented ownership and the damaged fence. Whelan counters that the HOA has temporary development authority from the county, rendering Jack's immediate recourse limited to legal channels. The deputy advises filing a court complaint to halt the work, but until then, the crew can proceed. Defeated but strategic, Jack unloads the rifle and sets it down, agreeing to play it their way. For now, though his rage simmers as he watches his raised beds crushed and blue marking tapes scarring his land. This moment is a critical escalation, showcasing the HOA's audacity in physically altering Jack's property under the guise of legal approval. The bulldozer's destruction, coupled with the sheriff's intervention, highlights the systemic bias Jack faces, where bureaucratic claims trump his clear ownership. The emotional weight of the mulberry tree's damage personalizes the violation, making Jack's restraint, choosing legal action over violence, compelling. For the audience, this scene is a gut punch, blending visceral destruction with Jack's powerless fury, drawing viewers deeper into his fight. It raises the stakes, questioning whether Jack can stop the HOA before they irreparably alter his land. His decision to document the incident with drone footage, capturing the dozer's entry and fence cutting, foreshadows a calculated counterattack, keeping viewers hooked on how Jack will leverage evidence to reclaim his rights. Jack West receives critical evidence from Jen Walker, a paralegal whistleblower, exposing the Green Peaks Reserve HOA's fraudulent scheme to seize his 10-acre Colorado property. After a night of heightened tension, with his mailbox tampered and a bulldozer damaging his land, Jack receives an anonymous email from a burner domain containing only an address and the message, "I'm not part of this. Please come alone." Wary but intrigued, Jack drives to the specified office park, carrying a concealed Glock for protection. At the office of Foster and Lee, HOA counselors, Jen, a nervous paralegal who has worked under Karen Worthington for 5 years, confirms his identity and reveals the HOA's illicit actions. She hands Jack a flash drive containing screenshots, emails, and voice memos that detail a manufactured rezoning request and a fake deed transfer using a forged signature from Jack's escrow documents. Jen confesses that Karen orchestrated the scheme, exploiting an old inheritance dispute to flag Jack's title as questionable. She admits Karen planned to push forward with construction, even against court delays, boasting that the pool would be half-built before Jack could untangle the legal mess. Jen's decision to come forward stems from her conscience, despite facing threats of termination and defamation for raising concerns internally. Jack, recognizing the gravity of her evidence, questions her motives but accepts the drive, understanding she's risking her career to become a key witness in a potential felony case. He drives straight to his lawyer, Daniel, who backs up the files and catalogs the damning evidence, including voice memos of Karen mocking Jack as a hillbilly holdout and dismissing the permit system. This moment is a turning point, transforming Jack's fight from a defensive struggle to an offensive strike backed by concrete proof of fraud. Jen's whistleblowing exposes the HOA's calculated deception, revealing Karen's abuse of power and manipulation of legal processes. For the audience, this scene is electrifying, blending intrigue with the thrill of uncovering corruption. The flash drive's contents, especially Karen's cavalier voice memos, heighten the stakes, showing the HOA's willingness to bulldoze Jack's rights. Jen's courage, risking her livelihood, adds emotional depth, aligning her with Jack's fight for justice. This evidence empowers Jack to file an emergency injunction, halting the HOA's actions, and sets the stage for a public and legal reckoning. Viewers are drawn deeper into the narrative, eager to see how Jack leverages this bombshell to dismantle the HOA's scheme and protect his land. Jack West takes decisive legal action against the Green Peaks Reserve HOA and amplifies his fight by going public, turning his personal battle into a broader exposé of corruption. After receiving damning evidence from whistleblower Jen Walker, including forged documents and incriminating voice memos, Jack and his lawyer, Daniel, file an emergency injunction in county court to halt the HOA's unauthorized construction on his 10-acre Colorado property. The injunction cites violation of private property, destruction of assets, and unlawful expansion, supported by timestamped drone footage, photos, and Jen's flash drive. This legal maneuver successfully pauses the bulldozers, marking a critical victory in stopping further damage to Jack's land. However, knowing the HOA's influence, particularly Karen Worthington's ties to local development boards, Jack and Daniel realize a lawsuit alone may not suffice in a county where power often trumps justice. To shift the battleground, Jack goes public. Through a friend at the VFW, he connects with a cousin who runs Land and Liberty Weekly, a property rights podcast. Within 24 hours, they air his story under the title, HOA from Hell, Colorado Veteran Faces Land Theft by HOA Execs. The episode, detailing the HOA's fraudulent rezoning and physical trespass, goes viral, resonating with others who faced similar HOA overreaches. Emails flood in from across Colorado, stories of a Durango woman's lawn paved without consent and a Boulder rancher's hayfield rezoned for a dog park, revealing a pattern of abuse. This public outcry amplifies pressure on the HOA, as residents begin questioning Karen's leadership, with some demanding a recall. The viral story catches the attention of Channel 7 News, which interviews Jack on his damaged property, where he stands by his mangled fence and uprooted mulberry tree, declaring, "This land isn't just mine because I bought it. It's mine because I fought for it." This moment is a pivotal escalation, transforming Jack's fight into a public crusade against systemic corruption. The injunction halts the HOA's physical advances, while the podcast and media coverage expose their tactics to a wider audience, rallying community support. For viewers, this scene is galvanizing, blending legal strategy with grassroots momentum. Jack's refusal to settle, coupled with the growing public backlash, keeps audiences hooked, wondering if this exposure will dismantle the HOA's grip or provoke retaliation. The narrative stakes soar as Jack's evidence and resolve turn a personal grievance into a movement, setting the stage for a courtroom showdown. Jack West achieves a resounding legal victory against the Green Peaks Reserve HOA, culminating in significant consequences for the perpetrators and a restoration of his property's integrity. The courtroom showdown, set in a tense, flickering light courthouse, sees Jack and his lawyer, Daniel, present a formidable case against the HOA, Karen Worthington, and Harper Engineering Group. Armed with over 300 pages of evidence, including original deeds, drone footage, forged documents, and whistleblower testimonies from Jen Walker and Thomas Gardner, the plaintiff's case is airtight. Jen testifies about Karen's fake land inclusion memo and her plan to exhaust Jack legally, while Gardner admits to signing deceptive resolutions. A forensic analyst exposes the HOA's forged deed, and a zoning clerk reveals Karen's improper influence over county officials. The judge, known for her no-nonsense approach, delivers a swift ruling. The HOA's claims are invalidated, construction permits are revoked, and Karen is found liable for conspiracy to defraud, falsification of records, and abuse of process. Jack is awarded $3.2 million in damages, and Karen faces a criminal referral. The aftermath reshapes the landscape. Karen, stripped of her authority, faces 15 years in prison, with no parole for 7, and struggles without her former influence. Harper Engineering folds, its board resigns, and the HOA, under interim President Gardner, moves to dissolve entirely, deemed untrustworthy. Jack uses the settlement to pay off his house, upgrade his solar array, and rebuild his shed with advanced security. He replaces his damaged fence with a custom iron gate, boldly inscribed with "Private land not subject to HOA," and "Smile for the drones," a defiant nod to his surveillance. The land heals, with wildflowers blooming over bulldozer scars and a new mulberry tree planted in his mother's memory. This climactic resolution is profoundly satisfying, showcasing Jack's triumph over systemic corruption through evidence and public pressure. For the audience, the scene is exhilarating, blending justice with poetic retribution as Karen's empire crumbles. Jack's refusal to attend her sentencing underscores his focus on rebuilding rather than revenge. The HOA's dissolution and Jen's new career helping homeowners signal broader change, while Jack's fortified property and viral story inspire others. The final image of Jack on his porch, Mabel at his feet, watching the road with coffee in hand, cements his victory and vigilance. Viewers are left uplifted, captivated by a veteran's unwavering stand against injustice, ensuring his land remains his. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow.